Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning with the Path of Ish. Here again, in this moment, in this time, excited to share with you something that has been stirring with me, inside of me, around me over this past few days and this past few weeks, and finally has decided to be weaved together today, and we will weave it as we go through this plática. I was going to name this plática greed, but when I saw that most people were not listening to my second episode of overwhelm, I decided maybe to approach it in a different way. So I actually started recording it and decided to scrap it and decided to sit with this message a little bit more. And as I sat with it and talked to the trees and the grasses, which are two alliances, two friendships that I have built that really teach me about communication, they reminded me of a practice that I have been giving to my students recently as a way to really be able to take in a moment. So today our topic is moments of marvel. The reason that, doesn't it just feel good just to think of that, moments of marvel? You just feel warm and expansive, and that there's enough space and there's peace in just that imagery, that idea. Maybe not so much with the greed image, but they're playing off of each other, and they're the shadow of each other, you might say. The reason that greed came in to be spoken about to some degree was this longing that I see, this way that this never enoughness. And all I can hear in my head is that song and The Greatest Showman, Never Enough by Lauren Alred. And it is an epically sung song that is momentous and marvelous in a way, but speaks directly to this energy of never enough. So here is an amazing song that is holding this feeling that some might say is greed, or what comes from greed, or is at sometimes the heart of greed, not feeling ever enough, which is really about the inability or the lack of self-love. And it does so in such a beautiful way of going through so many waves of tones in the song that it's beautiful. That song, Never Enough by Lauren Alred, holds the shadow of not feeling like enough, or the shadow of greed, in this beautiful, marvelous way that actually gives us this feeling sometimes of grace. How wonderful to be able to hold both. Now, recently, gratitude practices have become very popular. And I am not against gratitude. I love gratitude. But what I have noticed is that gratitude has become many times this checklist to mark off, a task. And again, here is this practice that's being done in a way taught by society to do things in a way where people are checking boxes and moving on and not being present. And it's hard because, again, if you go back to the episodes of compartmentalization or go back to other ones, this idea of circleness and square is what is at odds between communities and ways of being. And there are not many times when we can hold the complexity of both. That idea of bringing all parts of ourselves, yet with structure. Because we haven't allowed ourselves, our creativity, or our moments of marvel. That can be medicine. We think that medicine and medicine studies and deep spiritual walks have to be so focused and disciplined and respectful, so much so in the way that we take out the magic of it many times. And we've seen this happen many times with religions. Going back to gratitude, there is that energy sometimes that I feel of reciprocity. I'm grateful because I received or you gave me, and therefore I'm sometimes just being thankful and grateful to give you something back, to give you back that thanks. And for me, I see it so much in society as this kind of like hot potato that happens. Someone tries to give something to someone, and that person doesn't know how to hold that receiving. So it becomes a hot potato, and they just say thank you and kind of toss back the receiving to that person. And I've seen it happen so many times throughout my life in so many cultures where we don't know how to hold that feeling of not enoughness, that feeling of being enough, and the balance in between. So today, instead of considering thankfulness or gratitude as an balance or an antithesis to greed, to not being enough, that self-love, why don't we find a different way and be playful about it? These moments of marvel came up, and they actually came up in an ice cream social that I did with my wife. We co-host these small little circles, about 5 people, where we do ice cream chakra clearings. Yes, you heard me right, ice cream chakra clearings. And Rose does a lot of readings. And the reason that we got into this, and we've been doing this for about 2-3 years, is that playfulness. And also because your gustatory senses and your olfactory senses have a closer connection to memory. And so when we get into a clearing, as someone calls it, our food clearings, right, we're engaging people in that way. And so we're able to do quicker work. But yes, they're fun, they're small, and definitely something that anyone can join if they join our Patreon. But this idea, this imagery of marvelous marbles came to me as this way to be able to capture a moment. I love marbles. I had a collection when I was younger. My grandmother, one of my grandmothers, the one who taught me about cacao, definitely was a really good marble player. Pickup sticks, wicked at pickup sticks. And trust me, no one in my family, like my family plays to win. It didn't matter how old you were. Be careful because you're either playing against a grandmother on my father's side, his mother, who is really good at pickup sticks and marble shooting and would take your marbles, or my other grandmother, my mom's mom, who is a card shark to this day, even though she's 91. Watch out because she plays the, oh, I'm 90, I don't remember. And she's counting cards and she will win. But this imagery, as you can see me get or feel me get excited about marbles, is something that I love. So sometimes when you're trying to be playful and change the energy of a task, bring joy and marvel to it. Find something that excites you, that precious thing that in your childhood or even in your adulthood you love. And so as you can see, this joy and excitement of marbles came up because marbles to me are not just pieces of art, which they are, but they represent little universes. And even in my 20s, I collected marbles. And I love these handmade, hand-painted Italian marbles that I had at one time. And here we have again the energy of the universe, which is circleness. This ability to encapsulate a feeling, emotion, a moment in time with marbles. So I called these moments of marvel, and I have to say this 3 times, marvel marbles. So I'm going to have you have that kind of idea. It's a little bit of a tongue twister there. But the reason that I wanted to not just bring in the imagery of marbles as something that you could collect and put and look at, but also marvel, because there's a warmth to this word. There's something that brings in the ability to bask, to lay, to take in, to feel warm, to make the most out of something. That is marvel. Gratitude is thankfulness. There's the action to it that's a very different action than basking. Marvel is to be filled with wonder or astonishment. And wonder, don't worry, we're going to talk about that another time, allows us to accept these things bigger than ourselves. These emotions that sometimes we don't know how to feel, these ideas, these energías. And it connects us to something bigger, something, our potential, where many times when we are overtaken by this warmth of marvel, I see a lot of jaws dropping. That, that breath, that sigh, that becomes this moment of recognizing that we can be here now in this greatness, in this smallness, all at the same time. We can hold those moments of when we don't feel like we are enough. But with marvel, when you're presented with the marvel of the universe, of stars, of galaxies, that feeling of I'm just small is very different. And so today, I encourage you to play with this energy of when you get into your not enoughness, your greed. Maybe you can pause and take in a moment or remember a moment. And that moment is one that will be full of marvel. Not only will it bring gratitude in, but it will bring awe. And that breath that gives us life and reminds us of life, that no matter how small we feel in a moment, we are part of the all. Awe reminds us of the all. That is a fun, beautiful way to play with this insecurity that we have of not being enough, that sometimes expresses itself by trying to be everything, work everything, consume everything, to be part of the all in that way. But this way leads us further away of that balance. The other way, we talked about gratitude. But many times, and I've done gratitude retreats, I've done gratitude in groups, and it was really something that I kept seeing was that this list making, and of course, so many people say, fake it till you make it. And I understand if you are not given language or not given a way and a culture that relates you and puts you as part of the all, that you will have to kind of fake it till you feel it. But I kindly suggest, why don't we make marbles and a way to bring in gratitude, awe, and marvel all together in this small little universe of all the moments of your life where you can actually be so present in, that give you awe and connect you to all. So today we're going to do a meditation that allows you the possibility to do this practice where you really breathe in, take in a moment, and you make it into a small little marble of marvel. And when you're feeling lost or separated, you can go back to that little moment. And hopefully, what you'll realize as we do this practice is that you have a lot of moments of marvel. You have a lot of marbles. And moments that you can go back to where you held that duality so perfectly in such a beautiful way that there was no wanting, even though maybe you felt small, but you were part of something bigger. And this is something that you can do. They don't just have to be visual moments, they can be music. I have a few snippets of music that when I am needing that respite or that memory, I go to create gentleness in my heart. And right now, 2 of those are Petite Biscuit's Night Trouble. and then September Song by Aventine are two small pieces of music that I go to in my moments of marvel, because to me they sound marvelous. They sound like these pieces that have everything and all, the small and the large, and the way you can bask in these pieces of music is beautiful. There's no words really to any of these. They're just tone and song and rhythm and light and movement. So when I hear them, they'll remind me of a moment of being on a hillside and looking at the ocean with the sun setting and a breeze coming in and the warmth of the breeze on my skin. And that is a moment of marvel that connects me to that awe. And so let us do a meditation together. Okay, my friends. We will begin, as we always begin, with our 3 breaths. And before you do that, just settle yourself into a comfortable place and ease yourself into your muscles, your bones, your tissue. And see how comfortable you can get. And once you reach that level of comfort, can you let something else go? There we are. That is in this releasing that we make room for something new. And so we take 3 focused intention breaths. Even though we've taken many breaths today, these will be new. So let us begin. Our first breath in and out through the nose, we bring our mind into this time and into this place. Second breath, in and out through the nose, we bring our body into this time, into this place. Third breath, in and out, we bring our essence into this time, into this place. And just ease into this. And since we're making marvelous marbles that have circleness to them, I invite you today that in your imagery of circle, it is marbles, these spheres, 3D circles. And so I invite you to start imagining, to start basking in warmth, to start being full of wonder, and see where these wonder, this warmth takes you. When was the last time you had or felt marvel, wonder, awe, astonishment, gratitude all together? And imagine this beautiful, amazing place, and I challenge you to make this place your first marble. Be full of the things that you love in nature, and don't add extra humans. You are the human in this. Let me say that again. In our first marble, I invite you to fill it with all the things that you love of nature. The trees, the birds, the fish, the fawn, the rhythm, the sun, the moon, the rainbows, the clouds, the rain, the animals, all of those kingdoms, reptiles, insects, shell, color, texture, all of them. And you are the only human in this, becoming part of the all. So whether it was a sunset, whether it was a climb up a mountain, or just a perfect cup of cacao, bring in that first marble and shape it and form it in bright colors and textures and fill it with music, this moment of marvel. And once you're done with that one, put it in your beautiful medicine pouch. Put it in your pocket, wherever it feels that you want to keep it close to you. And then move forward and approach the circle again, and all the kingdoms and all together create your second marble of marvel. And take your time creating this space. Enjoy it. Fill it. See how many marble moments you can create. See how much of your childhood you can put in there, your teenage years, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s. Not just the decades, but the moments that brought you. And as you build them and you fill them, see how your mind feels, your body feels, and your essence feels. Are they working together to reveal to you, to remember together these moments? Or is what you are motivated by moments of fear, anguish, greed? And those are the ones you greedily keep. I don't want to let this go, this hurt, this time. When this person said this to me, because if I let it go, I'm going to let it happen again. I am not saying leave your lessons behind. I'm asking, is there maybe a way where the marbles that you're holding in your grip so tightly, can those instead of be moments of trauma and drama and pain, can you start maybe carrying another set of marbles full of marvel? And maybe these marvelous marbles can hold the complexity of the lessons that we have and live as humans. Before I recorded this podcast, I decided to take a little moment and went up into the nearby hillside and was just driving slowly and enjoying the pastures and the elevation and just the beauty of the wind and the cows and just eucalyptus, rainbow eucalyptus, and just it was beautiful. And there was this moment where I was like, oh, I should probably get back and I should probably do some things, and it's about to start really raining hard. And so as I started coming back down the mountain, because it's a mountain, not a hill, but I saw all of a sudden this hawk, this beautiful, beautiful hawk circling. And all of a sudden then it came down to catch something. Right, it released its talons, its feet, and started going down and then came up. And that moment is an example of this beautiful moment of beauty, of air, of wind, of everything happening around. And yet, there was a moment of possible terror and death. Nature reminds us that our moments of marvel can hold complexity. And they hold it so well, and so much synchronicity, with so much ease, that when we are in those moments, we breathe more easily. So as you are finishing up your last marble for today, check in with your body, your mind, and your essence. Check in with the circle, with the directions and the elements of east, water, south, fire, west, wind, north, earth. Make sure that all of these elements are part of your marbles, and I'm sure they are. Very beautiful. You're doing so amazing. How marvelous. What beauty. What complexity. What And so now, as this last marble is created and you've put it either in your little medicine pouch or tucked it away, knowing you can always come back to this meditation in this place and create more marbles. Now, this is what I'm going to say too before we come out of this meditation. Remember that in creating, you must keep it up. Don't let these marbles just sit on a shelf or sit within you and you don't look at them. Creation means evolution. Keep coming back to these moments, and how more can you evolve? How more of you and your water, your fire, your wind, your land be part of it? So much so that these moments are you and the universe awesomely together. And with that reminder, thank you, Circle. We slowly come out of this meditation as we give gratitude and thanks to all of the elements, all of the directions that held us. thanks to the root that was set before this meditation if you connected to it. And as we slowly come back, let us take our 3 breaths. In and out through the nose, the first one. Thanking our essence for being in this time and in this place. In and out of the nose, as we thank our bodies for being in this time and this place. In and out of the nose, as we thank our minds for being in this time and this place. Rubbing our hands together. These marvelous hands, full of marvel and wonder and magic, and sealing this practice in our hearts. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again for joining. I hope to see you next time as we continue this marvelous, momentous, awesome journey of remembrance, where we are crossing the bridge between our conditioning, which for many is of this Western culture, back to our memory of when we were taught that we were one. I'd like to thank all my teachers throughout all my lifetimes and all the people they represent. And I'd like to thank my ancestors too for always reminding me to be in the presence of marvel. Thank you. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.